Hey y'all, Irix Guy here, and this in my hand is the Samsung Gear 360. Now there were at least a couple different versions of this camera, so check the link within this video's description to find the version that I'm using, as well as the case and this short little tripod type doohickey. So just wanted to talk about it. Had my hands on it for several days now, and I want to tell you the good and the bad, and what do I think about it. Well, VR, virtual reality, also commonly referred to as spherical or 360 degree video, those terms are used interchangeably. But unfortunately, when it came out several years ago, the hardware was there. You could get 360 cameras, but they weren't really that high of quality, and there really wasn't any quality editing software for the VR video that was filmed. So what happened, a lot of people, including myself, that were early adopters, they picked up a cheap VR camera, they filmed videos, and they were underwhelmed with what they could do with it. They didn't have a quality editing tool. Fortunately, in December of 2017, Final Cut Pro 10 released an update that supports VR video editing. So you can check out all my videos, check the link within this video's description, and you can see the Samsung Gear 360 videos that I filmed and edited within Final Cut Pro 10. So that's all fine and dandy, but what do I think about the camera? What are its pros, its cons, and what has my experience been? Well, first of all, immediately after I took the Samsung Gear 360 out of the box, I knew that I was dealing with a quality camera. Now, obviously, this is not a super duper high-end camera or anything, but when I took it out, it was very nicely weighted. It's plastic, but it seems to be a decently hard plastic. The overall design of it is very nice. Of course, now I've got it attached to this short tripod, but I'm going to take it off so you can see, just how small that is. Super small. And since it has the standard tripod type screw mount in the bottom, it makes it easy to attach to a variety of different tripods, monopods, etc. And something I've really enjoyed doing is using a converter. I got this adapter that would take a standard tripod mount to a GoPro style mount. So I've been able to attach this to a lot of my existing GoPro mounts, including suction cup mount, etc., that I've collected throughout the years because I'm an avid GoPro guy. But this right here is a must. The first thing I want to tell you, you need to get a quality protective piece, and you can find this within this video's description, but it's a silicone type material. Obviously, it's not going to make it waterproof. It's not going to make it super ruggedized or anything, but what it may do is better prevent the camera from becoming scratched, either not while in use, because this would be off, but when you're transporting it places. Now, this did come with a little stuff sack type thing, which is nice quality, but I like to use this in addition to that stuff sack. Now, the camera itself, from a controls perspective, it's very simplistic. It's got a power on button, it's got a menu button, and it's got a record button. Navigating the menus using only the buttons on the camera is actually quite user-friendly. After you've done it once, if you need to go in and format your memory card, it's easy to go in and navigate the menu system and get to that to where you can erase it. One of the pitfalls of this camera, on the side, the micro SD card slot, and by the way, you can find the micro SD card that I use within this video's description too. But what I would recommend doing is probably getting a larger size micro SD card, because due to the design of this micro SD card slot, it's not super user-friendly to insert and to remove and insert. So for that reason, it's not something I want to be in the habit of taking in and out. And the good thing is, what we're going to get to here in a minute, is that I rarely have to take the micro SD card out. Actually, I hope I never have to unless it becomes defective. But we'll get to that in a moment. So it's got the micro SD card slot, and then right beside it's got a USB-C, as in Charlie, port that's used for syncing and charging. And I like they went with USB-C. It's obviously because I'm a MacBook user, 2017 MacBook Pro, and that's USB-C. You'll notice, you may have seen other people that use the Samsung Gear 360, and they've got a lanyard on the side, and then it's got what looks like a little funky little ring thing. I didn't like that. So for that reason, I didn't attach it. What it was a lanyard, and it had a ring that you could stick on the bottom of the of the camera, because even though the bottom part of this camera is flat, it's not really that wide, so it's prone to topple over. So they gave you that ring with the expectation you would stick that on and stick it down. I don't want to use the ring, because what I'll do most of the time, unless I'm attaching to a GoPro style mount like a suction mount or something on the hood of a car, is I'll just carry this around, because this functions as a very short monopod, but when I pop it out, it functions as a very short tripod. So I don't really, you know, for daily use, this is probably what I'll be using a large percentage of the time. The battery on this is not user replaceable, so that is kind of a pitfall. But what I found is that the battery life, just to give you an estimate here, I've been filming for probably about 12 or 14 minutes, and it shows that I have 90% battery life remaining. So hopefully that trend continues, and hopefully this battery doesn't become less of a stellar performer over time. But with that battery life, you know, I shouldn't have any problems from most filming scenarios. And likewise, if you want to top your battery off while you're out in the field, again, check the link within this video's description. But I've got a battery bank, and I can just plug this by way of the USB-C cable into the battery bank and top it off while I'm in the field. So it's in essence like having multiple batteries. Obviously I can't take the battery out and put another one in, but I can top this one off while it's in my backpack and I'm not filming with it. So that's a great convenience. Now, although this is touted as a 4K camera, I will tell you that, and watch my VR videos and see for yourself, when you watch the 4K, it's not going to be the 4K like you may be accustomed to, like this video that I'm filming face on video. I'm filming this video with a Sony Alpha with Zeiss lens. So, I mean, this is super high quality. You're not going to get anywhere close to that kind of quality with this, but the quality of this, especially given the price, in my opinion, is great. I mean, it's a lot more than simply proof of concept, like a lot of us saw with some of the very first VR cameras. They worked, but they were more proof of concept than they were usable. The content that the Samsung Gear 360 produces, in my opinion, is actually usable, and that's huge. So now I've got a camera that I can use in conjunction with Final Cut Pro 10 and really start to become immersed within the realm of VR, spherical, 360 degree, whatever you want to call it, video editing. So I'm excited, and I hope it's something that y'all are excited about as well, and we hope, and I hope that we get to see this technology continue to evolve, because had Final Cut Pro 10 not released VR video editing capabilities within their Final Cut Pro 10 product, I think we would have seen the rapid demise of VR. But hopefully now VR will be reinvigorated as the product of having video editing tools. So I'm going to really embrace it. I'm going to film a ton of VR videos. I'm going to continue to use this camera. This camera is something, compared to my previous camera that I have, and you can check out those videos on my channel too, youtube.com/irixguy, or go to irixguy.com and go to store cameras, and you can find that camera there, as well as an LG camera. This runs circles around that camera. But that camera, I had it for at least a year. Was it a year or 2 years? I mean, I had it for a while. So it's a lot older technology. But bang for the buck, ease of use, this thing is great. Something I did want to call out, and again, I'm a Mac user. This is, as far as getting everything going to where you can, you know, if you don't just want to use your smartphone, the app on the smartphone is easy. And I'm going to do a video on it. But the first thing I did is pair this out of the box after it was charged with my smartphone. And I do use an iPhone, by the way. And the iPhone software does work. There were some complaints. The original versions of iOS software weren't feature-rich, but mine is, because I've got the current version. And the first thing I did was update the firmware on the camera. So with everything current, the iOS app provides a very nice experience. And I've even live streamed to YouTube using the Samsung Gear 360's iOS app, and that was pretty cool that you can do that. And obviously you can transfer files to your iOS or Android device using the app. But what I like to do, and this is something I will really delve into in a great amount of depth within an upcoming video, and again, check the link within this video's description, you'll be able to find it there. But what I'm going to do is share with you my workflow. I've already got a workflow video at the time of posting this video for Final Cut Pro 10 VR video editing. But I'm going to do a workflow video for the Samsung Gear 360. You know, how I, without having to remove the micro SD card, how do I get the video that I filmed using this camera to my Mac computer and then once I get it to my Mac computer, how do I import it into Final Cut Pro 10? So that's a video that I'm going to film, and at the time of watching this, I may have already filmed that video. So again, check out my website, irixguy.com, or just check the link within this video's description, because I want to show you everything that I've experienced with this, not just the videos that I filmed with it. You know, those are great. You'll be able to enjoy watching those, and you know, if you're using Google Chrome or other compatible browser, and look around in 360 degree. But what I really want to do is show you all the ins and outs of this, because again, this is something where hardware came before the software. So now the software is starting to catch up with the hardware, so it's important as fellow VR adopters that you know how to create a workflow that'll hopefully work for you. And you know, and hopefully my videos will help, because it was there's a lot of head scratching initially, and then I figured it out, and I really like this. I mean, again, don't be expecting mind-blowing 4K video from this, but expect good quality video that's good enough for sharing on social media, just really immersive VR clips. And the internal audio on this is not bad, but that's something you may want to do if you record audio externally. If you want to use this and create a more, I guess you would say, production-ready VR video, what you'd probably want to do is use an external mic, and check out my tutorial on that on my website, how to replace a camera's internal audio with external audio, because now, by utilizing Final Cut Pro 10, that's doable with a camera such as this. So even though I would also be recording audio with the Samsung Gear's internal microphone, I would also have a high quality Rode microphone, or I mean, that's just the brand I like, but I would have a high quality external audio recording device, and then I would, in post-production, I would mute the Samsung Gear 360's internal audio and replace it with a professional sounding audio. So, you know, just another tip. But yeah, I mean, super nice user experience. Again, right out of the box, be sure to update your app, be sure to update the firmware, make sure everything's current before you start playing with your Samsung Gear 360, because if you don't, there may be some functionality that's not there, or if it is there, it may be semi-functional. So, you know, for the best user experience, get the current app and get the current firmware on your Samsung Gear 360 before you go any further. But I really haven't had any problems with it. One thing worth noting, and this isn't a problem, but it's something to be aware of, since the record button is on the back of the camera, you know, be sure if you're hand holding the camera, and that's another benefit of using this short monopod / tripod device like I use here, is that my hand is on this, my hand's not on the camera. So if one was only using the camera and they were gripping it, that record button is easy to push and inadvertently stop the recording prematurely. So, you know, that's something to be aware of. Again, another benefit of using a grip such as this. And yeah, just super easy to travel with. Again, when I'm walking around, put this on to better prevent the camera from becoming scratched by accident. And it's just easy to travel with along with other gear. I mean, obviously I travel with drones, I travel with Sony Alpha cameras, tons of lenses for my Sony Alpha. So, you know, anything else that I can add to capture an environment in a cool perspective, but not add a lot of travel size and travel weight, it's a win for me. So, you know, not first impressions, but impressions after using this for many days, they're highly favorable. And again, I'm not trying to sell anybody on, ooh, this is the best VR camera, it's game changing, or anything like that. I think it's great for what it is. I think it's awesome for the price point. And even though I'm a hardcore GoPro advocate, it's hard for me this early on to adopt the GoPro Fusion, which is GoPro's latest, at the time of posting this, GoPro's latest VR camera, just because it's so expensive. I can't justify spending that much for a GoPro VR camera when I can get something like this so affordably. And obviously the quality is probably not as good as the GoPro Fusion, but at least I've got quality that's usable, and that's a great thing. So thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe, youtube.com/irixguy. And again, check the link within this video's description. You can find the Samsung Gear 360, the Samsung Gear, this little tripod type thing, the battery bank I was telling you about, all the goodness. Check the link within this video's description, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, irixguy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.